afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Tuesday Times Roundtable. I appreciate you being here in a particularly difficult time for our local and university communities. Before I introduce today's moderator, I want to make sure, since there's been a lot of communications going out from the university, that we're all aware of a few important things. I'm told there's a blood drive taking place today until 5 in the lot that's next to the Grand Center ballrooms out back, next to the ballrooms. And tomorrow is the vigil for the victims of the bridge collapse at 10 a.m. in the ballrooms. And so, we encourage you to participate in that. There are 3 different sets of counseling available. Students is through the CAPS office, Counseling and Psychological Services. Employees have counseling available through the Office of Employee Assistance. And if you happen to know any local families that have children that are impacted, the Center for Children and Families has counseling available for children, even if they're not, part of the FIU community. And so news.fiu.edu has the contact information and stuff for all of that. Just in case you were not around yesterday or didn't have a chance to participate, I would like to do a quick moment of silence for the victims of the collapse before I introduce today's moderator. So for today's moderator, we have Joneri Mendoza. She's the coordinator in our International Student and Scholar Services Office, or ISSS. She was born in Venezuela and grew up here in Miami. She holds her master's in international and intercultural education and a bachelor's in hospitality management from here at FIU. Joneri worked in the hospitality industry for 10 years and was once nominated Employee of the Month in multiple departments throughout her career due to her commitment to service. 3 years ago, she decided to change her career and go back to finish her master's in the International Intercultural Education program. Her passion for international education emerged during her undergraduate career when she participated in 2 short-term study abroad programs that fueled her interest in this field. Also, just in case, unless my pens got stolen, there should be 4 sign-in sheets up there if people need to sign in more than one person at a time, and that way you can grab lunch and come on in. Joneri also has a strong passion for service. She started volunteering within the community 8 years ago, and her volunteer work has fulfilled her as an individually, but most importantly, she has learned to appreciate human rights since many families suffer due to lack of resources. Like I said, she's currently here in FIU's ISSS office, where she advises international students on immigration, social, and cultural concerns so they can proceed while pursuing their degrees at FIU. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. This is a very good turnout. I really appreciate you taking the time to come today while we share today's topic, which is a path to global engagement and connecting with the world through the lenses of volunteer work. I also want to thank our Global Learning Department and Eric for putting these Tuesday Times roundtables together. As you all know, this is considered also a discussion. So throughout the presentation, there are going to be opportunities for you to share also your experiences connecting with volunteer work or any other type of experiences on civic engagement as well. Okay, so now I wanted to talk about cross-cultural experiences. So cross-cultural experience is defined as an experience that enables a person to understand another way of life from the perspective of going to another culture, okay? So have any of you had a cross-cultural experience before in your life? Can you raise your hand if you had? Okay. How many of you have had a cross-cultural experience within the United States? Very good. So I'm going to ask a couple of people to share. If you could please share. Ana Luisa?
When I arrived here the very first time, I actually went to Georgia, and it is a completely different experience than Miami, because there isn't such a Latin American influence to it, so it was very difficult and very different from what I was accustomed to. Back home, I would consider myself a very warm person. I love hugging people, I love showing affection, and in Savannah, it was seen not in a bad way, but people just they just weren't accustomed to it, so it was really difficult for me to create big bonds and to relate to people and to connect with them, because they just weren't used to showing affection the way that I grew up showing affection.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else that wants to share cross-cultural experience in the United States?
Mine was sort of opposite to hers because I'm from North Florida, which is basically like Georgia.
Okay.
And so when I moved down to Miami about 9 years ago, I really had to get used to, which for me, I'm pretty outspoken and touchy, and that's fine. But like my mom, for instance, is not a touchy person. So when she comes down to visit and we go over to my in-laws, it's this huge Cuban family, and they're like, oh my gosh. And she's from Maine too, so she's even more sort of not into the physical touching and kissing.
Okay.
So definitely coming from really anywhere outside of Miami, but specifically a rural area to here it was a culture shock.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And as you can see, we even experience cross-cultural experience in the United States. So now, anyone that wants to share cross-cultural experience abroad? Yeah?
When I was in Denmark, this really cute, nice Danish girl, like a very, very Danish-looking Danish girl, was telling me how she felt so hurt every time she walked past the immigrants from Syria in the train station, and she would always be asking me like what the U.S. does and stuff like that, and like sometimes we would even cry together over the turmoil that we experience, like indirectly through seeing people in bad conditions and stuff. And I don't know, I haven't really felt that kind of connection with other people in our country.
Yeah.
But I did with her, we like held hands and we like prayed together for them, and
That's
that was
awesome.
really cool.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to touch a little bit on that and also different organizations that do things to support our refugees as well around the world, not only in the United States but also around the world. So like you, I also had, I have had cross-cultural experience. My cross-cultural experiences are mostly because I really enjoy traveling, and those of you that work with me, you probably know where I'm going. Every time that I mention the word travel, they actually have a nickname for me. What is my nickname?
Happy feet.
Happy feet. So this is what they mean. This is what they see. So, but for me, my cross-cultural experiences, they actually started back in year 2000 when I took my first trip to a different land. So I am originally from Venezuela. I'm from a very small town in the western region of Venezuela. And my parents, they sent me to Miami and Orlando to experience the cities as a vacation. So I had a great experience. Everything was new to me, and it was great back then. But then in year 2001, I moved to the United States. My family and we immigrated to the United States. And then at that point, then I got to, I had a cross-cultural experience from the insider perspective because I had to adapt to a new language, communicating in a new language. Also, a different type of eating habits as well, just having a different way of life. And then it took me a couple of years until I went to college, and then I got into my bachelor's degree in hospitality management. I took part of 2 study abroad programs here at FIU. The first one was in 2009, where we went to Italy, and then the second one was in 2010, that we went to London and Paris, and it was with the International Business School, so it was mostly business related. At that point, I got to connect to what I call now my passion, which is international education. These study abroad programs, they really connected into the purpose that I feel that I have, which is promote international education and also connect with the world in the big sense or the little sense, because everything that we do, I feel that we can connect it to something greater. So now this is going to bring me now into the whole topic of purpose. So what do you feel that that purpose means? If anyone can. How many of you feel that you have a life of purpose right now? That the point that you are in this world is because you have a purpose. Okay. And what do you think that purpose means, Elaine?
Goals and you actually mean something to someone or to something, whether it's an organization, whether it could be family or friends. So you live every day with a goal in mind and you make it meaningful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing. And also, in this diagram, the author, which is Steve Fitz, he kind of presented like different areas where purpose plays a role. So it could be your passion, your mission, your vocation, or your profession. And depending on where you are in the diagram, you can be doing something because you love it, something because the world needs it, something because you are paid for it, or something because you are great at it. The key point on this diagram is that when you're doing something with a purpose, then it kind of balance yourself as well. So you're going to feel that you have a life with balance. He kind of went over 4 different steps on how to find your purpose. If you want to look him up, you can go into his website. But one of those steps is finding your blind spot. So what does he mean with your blind spot? Your blind spot is something that lights you up, something that when you're with your friends, it really lights you up when they talk about it, when you do it. So in my case, my parents actually allowed me to see this blind spot on myself. And they used to tell me, every time that you travel, every time that you do something to help the community, I just see you light up. So that's how I started discovering, little by little, my purpose. He also shared a case study, which is considered the step 4. And in that case study, he recommends for you to look into previous jobs that you had. And then kind of analyze yourself from the moment that you start to the point that you are in the peak of your career. So when we first start a job, and I take this back to my previous career, which is hospitality management. So when I first started the job, I used to love it. I wasn't getting too much pay, and then I wasn't great at it, but I loved the job. But I didn't feel that the world needed it. And then 6 months into the career, that love started decreasing. Then 3 years into the career, everything was stable. I was getting more experience, more pay, but my love for the job was going down. And it was, in my opinion, it was because it didn't connect it to something that the world needed, in my particular case. And then at the peak of my career, I had to make a decision because I was doing the job because I was getting paid for it, but I wasn't doing it because I loved it anymore. And that's when I started to make changes in my life. And that's how I ended at the Office of International Student Services, where I work today. Okay, so now this is going to bring us into our article for this week. The article for this week is A Vacation with Purpose by Daniela Petrova. It was published on March of last year, but this article connected really well with the topic today, so I wanted to kind of go over it with you. Did anyone get a chance to read the article? Yes? Okay, very well. So if you didn't get a chance, that's okay. You have the copy in front of you, and we're going to do a little activity to try to connect with this article. So we had 2 people that they were passing around the logos for the different organizations that the author touched in this article. Did everyone get a sticky, a little, did everyone get a logo? Raise your hand if you didn't. Okay, so now we are going to assign you in groups based on the logo that you're going to be representing. We're going to be also passing around a poster so you can write highlights about the organization and also kind of highlight the mission, what they do, how they do it, initiatives and projects that they had, and then what you can do to support as well. Okay? So just take a moment or two to see who is part of the Blue Campaign. Raise your hand. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to please join them on the side. We have most of the people from Blue Campaign right here. The Mirror Foundation. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to join the Mirror Foundation right here. Altruista. Raise your hand if you're Altruista. Okay, Altruista in the back. Okay, so again, Blue Campaign. Blue Campaign. Okay. Evelyn in the middle. The code. Who has the code? Okay, behind. And then FCAT USA. Okay, very good. So we're going to take the next 5 minutes for you to go over the articles and then highlight information on the mission, what the organization does, initiatives and projects, and what you can do to support this organization. You need more time? You good? Yes? Okay. So who's ready? Let's see. Perfect. What group, what organization are you representing? The Mirror Foundation. Okay, so would you like to share with the group what the Mirror Foundation is about? And you can do it as a group if you want to.
So the mission is to educate people so that they can acquire citizenship.
Okay.
So they help change. They also advocate to help change citizenship laws so that it is easier to acquire such citizenship. And they have safe work environment projects so that they can build wells with the money that they acquire, and they have different volunteer programs in Thailand.
Okay.
And the way that you can help and/or support is by either volunteering in their volunteer program or going in one of their eco tours, because these eco tours help finance the fund for the scholarships for advanced education, as well as the operations of the free schools that they have.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. Okay, who else would like to share? What other group is ready? What group are we representing in here? What foundation? Okay, EPCAT USA. Okay, so what do you learn about EPCAT USA from the article? You want to share it with the group?
It stands for In Child Prostitution and Trafficking. This article specifically talks about the situation that's going on in Thailand and how this organization is trying to help people try to stop from participating in very small ways, like going to hotels that are sponsored by this organization that do not play around with child prostitution. That's very prevalent in Thailand.
Okay.
They do mention that there are some issues with it, like with the internet, that made it possible for sex predators to go around. But they're trying their best, and they're helping these women and tourists who want to make a change, who also want a vacation, but do some good at the same time.
Yes.
By sponsoring and being well-intentioned organizations and businesses.
Okay, very good. And actually, the article mentions that as well. The author, she took an advocacy journey, and when she paid for this tour, the cost about $500. It is a donation that they give to EPCAT USA because all the great things that they're doing to fight human trafficking. Okay, so who got the code? In the back? Yes, okay. So would you like to share what the code is about?
Right, so the mission of the code is to put an end to child trafficking by providing tools and support to travel companies to build awareness among their employees, which is kind of what they do. They educate the hotel employees about child trafficking and how those hotel employees can stop it at their hotels and travel agencies.
Okay.
And they do this through training programs, and they introduce a training program to a hotel or a travel company, and then once that hotel or travel company has completed the program, they designate them as code hotels so that people can know to stay at them, which ties into how you can help them support.
Fantastic.
Stay at code designated hotels when traveling, and that supports the cause and also makes it.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for sharing. And then what do we have in here? What campaign? Oh, this one you already represented. I'm sorry, Mirror Foundation. Then here we have the Blue Campaign. Okay, so what do you learn about the Blue Campaign? What do you learn, Tarek?
Alright, so we learned that it provides education about human trafficking, and with no practice. I'm not gonna read that anymore. We're done. Basically, it says that they try to raise awareness basically about human trafficking. They try to help the U.S. Department of Homeland Security understand where human trafficking might be caused or happening, and they try to end it.
Okay, very good. And yes, as Tarek said, this is an organization that was founded by the Department of Homeland Security to fight against human trafficking. And they kind of went over the different types of human trafficking. It's not only on the sexual side, there is also human trafficking on people that are had to work on certain houses, or people that are brought as slaves as well. So they're trying to fight against human trafficking, and it's a campaign that has been going on for quite some time, but now it is more on the media, and you're probably going to see it in Facebook if you follow them in Facebook as well. And what organization do we have in here?
We have Altru Vistas.
Okay, Altru Vistas.
Yeah, so their mission is basically explore issues that people care about.
Okay.
While they do this by providing a deeper understanding of social issues. They provide local guides and translators. You would go on the website and basically enter which one you want to participate in.
Okay.
They give different journeys, funds, and fellowships. They travel to a lot of different places, including the Grand Palace and the Temple of the Emerald Buddha. And you could support them by giving donations.
Okay. Very well. Thank you so much for sharing. Everyone can go back to your seat. All right. So now that you learn a little bit more about this article, what do you think about the article? Were you familiar with any of these organizations? No, right? The same thing happened to me. The only organization that I was familiar with is the Blue Campaign. So that's why I wanted to create a little bit more interaction, because they provide such an amazing service, and also their initiatives is so great that I wanted for everyone to kind of keep it in the back of your mind when you consider traveling, if you would like to also do it through any of these organizations as well. So now, what do you think that the author meant with the word purpose in this particular article? Now that we read and we got familiar with the organizations, what do you think that the author meant with the word purpose? Anyone? Okay.
Like with a further goal other than just enjoying yourself.
Okay.
Like giving back, perhaps.
Okay.
Practically like that. You know, you go on vacation, but then you also help.
Yes.
It's a purpose. The purpose is to go have fun, but also, hey, where can I help? That makes it a purpose.
Yes, yes. And it is being a responsible traveler. That's what she wanted to kind of put through the article, that you can also be a responsible traveler if you travel this way. You get to connect with different organizations, and you also get to do some sightseeing as well. But in her case, she got to connect with government officials as well. In the different places where she went to, and then she got to learn about the issues that the community is facing at the same time. Okay? All right, so now this brings me into the next topic, which is the International and Intercultural Education Master's Program that I did here at FIU. So there were some of the concepts that I learned, like human rights education, peace education, global development, intercultural competency, and global competency. Because we only have 1 hour, I won't spend time going over the concepts, but I wanted to touch a little bit on the initiatives that I learned about, which is the International Day of Peace. This one was introduced back in 1982, and is celebrated every September 21st. The idea is for the entire universe to get together in one day and just practice peace for one day. And then we also learn about the Millennium Development Goals, which I have in the next slide. So these goals already expire. I won't touch too much in them. Anyone familiar with the Millennium Development Goals? Okay, good. The reason why I bring them up is because goal number 2 back then used to be the one that I was passionate about, which is education, provide education to children around the world. But then they made some improvements, so about 91% of children got access to education in 2015, considering 83%, which is how it started in year 2000. However, there were still children without a school, and it was because some of them have access to education, but they didn't have a uniform, so they couldn't go to school. And others, in other cases, the teacher-student ratio was really high, so they were going to school, but they were not learning. So they introduced the new Sustainable Development Goals, which are also the global goals. Anyone familiar with the global goals? Good. And we actually have someone who is very involved with the Sustainable Development Goals, and he's going to be talking a little bit in today's presentation as well. But I just wanted to give you a little overview on this. These are 17 goals that are called for action. So the idea is to have an action on creating peace in the world and also touching on different areas that every human being needs as well. Education is also there, which is quality of education, goal number 4. And now the idea is that they want learning for all. It's not just the access to education, but also that there has to be some sort of learning as well. Okay. So on the quality of education, education is considered the heart of the global 2030 agenda because it transforms life. How many of you agree with that? Education transforms life. Okay. What do you think that education transforms lives? If you can share with us. Yeah.
I think that education transforms a life because it makes you a better person.
Okay.
At any point that you can put it on, depending on what you like or not.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for sharing. Elaine?
So education actually gives someone the ability to kind of be more well-rounded, be knowledgeable in different aspects, not be so maybe discriminatory or be able to just be so narrow-minded.
Okay.
Gives you the opportunity to be able to expand and be able to think outside of just your country. You're actually thinking more unified.
Okay, very good.
And to add to her, it also helps and teaches you how to respect other people's point of view and cultures and, lifestyle.
Very good. Thank you for sharing. And the main responsibility for the government officials, they actually partner with UNESCO, and UNESCO is the one that is in charge of promoting quality of education around the world. They also do it with other partners as well, and they look to support, to coordinate, to monitor, and also to kind of measure the progress of the goal. They also have an agenda. This is their agenda for Education 2030. It includes early childhood learning for youth and adult, emphasizes on the acquisition of skills for work, underlines the importance of citizenship education, and concentrate on inclusion and gender equality. And then the idea is to ensure that there is quality learning, but for all. Okay? Some of the initiatives that UNESCO has, they have a lot of them, but I just highlighted 3 of them. The first 3 are based on literacy, promoting literacy and academic growth, and also some skills for the work setting. And then the last one, which is called BEAR, it is the Better Education for Africa's Rise. This one is actually providing courses, like some sort of courses for the adults, so they can get some skills in hospitality management and also some skills on designing as well. So that way they acquire these skills to go to the work setting as well. So they have these initiatives going on around the world. For Syria, they have something to cope with the trauma of war, and they provide literacy training and also some skills development as well. With the Guatemalan project, this is actually girls that they are forced to leave school because they need to go and help their parents, and so they had to go and start working. So they provided like it's a mobile program where the students, they can take classes, but also still work. Okay, so now I bring Tarek. He is very involved, as I mentioned, with 2 different organizations, and they kind of link to what I just covered. So Tarek, if you can come, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tarek. I'm an Egyptian international student. I've been here for 6 years. It's been great. And one of the biggest things that I'm really involved in is the SDGs and the Sustainable Development Goals, and just in general leadership development in youth. And the way that I really wanted to interact with my community was trying to get involved as much as possible and trying to integrate into Miami society coming from a different country. And that really started when I joined AIESEC. And for those, if you guys don't know, AIESEC is the world's largest youth-run organization. So anybody that works in AIESEC is always under 30. They're between 18 and 30. And basically what AIESEC does is it tries to align itself with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and creates projects for people in any of our countries for them to go there and like volunteer or intern abroad. So we also do the same here in Miami. For example, AIESEC in Miami opens up opportunities here for volunteering and internships. So we bring people from abroad here and they do the same. And we also send people abroad. And I was lucky enough to be one of those people. I went to Colombia in 2015 for 6 weeks. I went to Medellin and I worked in a nonprofit and I speak like 3 words in Spanish. I could say like, oh my God, and that was about it. And I had to work with like these 60 kids who did not know English and I didn't know Spanish. And I was like, you know what, we're just going to make it work somehow. And we were working with them on quality education and just working with kids and trying to work with them and like understanding them and like understanding how they're feeling and how I'm feeling and having somebody connect with you, even though there's a language barrier, was something like very motivating for me and something that very like impacted me a lot. And that led me to just wanting to do more in AIESEC and being more involved in AIESEC. So definitely recommended. If you guys are very interested in the Sustainable Development Goals, definitely go to AIESEC in Miami and participate and see their events and go on exchanges because they are very, very impactful opportunities. The second thing is the United Nations Association. Does anyone know what UNAUSA is? Yes? No? Maybe so? All right. So the United Nations Association is obviously like the headquarters, which is in Washington, D.C. And what it does is it basically aligns itself with the agenda of the UN. So in this situation, it would be for the SDGs. And it's made to essentially create opportunities and events and awareness of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and try and push it here in the U.S. for people to know what they are and take action towards them, whether it's with corporations, with companies, with government, with people, civil society, just anybody all. And I've been lucky enough that through AIESEC, I met the United Nations Association, and I was even luckier to be presented to their board and became a part of their board. So I'm working on the board for United Nations Association in Miami as a marketing chair. And basically what we do, like I said, is just different events for sustainable development, whether it's quality education. Right now we're focusing also on the environment and life underwater. And there's just a lot of events that are going on and a lot of cooperation with government and a lot of cooperation with universities. Actually, I have a meeting today with UM after this because they also want to partner with us, which would be really cool. So you guys should really get involved in these opportunities, and you should really look at either the Facebook for AIESEC in the United States or the Facebook for UNAUSA and look at these opportunities and make sure that you get involved and go around because y'all are youth. And if the youth aren't the ones who are being involved, then, well, our youth aren't even going to be involved either. And things just kind of go south from there. So get involved, guys. It's really important. Thank you.
Okay, and we also have another member of our university, Christy Morata. I also want her to share about her experience with Global Community Engagement. It's another organization within FIU. So she's going to just spending a couple of times with us, explaining us on the work that they do.
Well, we are both advisors in GCE, Global Community Engagement. I've just completed my second year as an advisor, but Chanel has done it for many years.
5 years.
5 years.
4 years as a student. This was my first year as an advisor.
We actually just came back to the States on Sunday. We were there during spring break. And the work that we do is that we work with children that live in vulnerable situations. As you can see, we have many different populations of students or children that we work with. Some of them are in schools and others are not. I don't know if Chanel can add.
Yeah, so we work with a non-governmental agency in Dominican Republic that works directly with Dominican and Haitian boys, and what we do is we typically talk to the organization and we come up with a social issue, and then the students create lesson plans that we go to take there to the Dominican Republic and work with those students. And then we also, that picture with Christy on the top left, that's at an elementary school called La Otra Banda. So we work with lower class families there. And then the picture right here, below that, that's a center in a low-income area as well. It's not a school, it's more of a center there. Dominican Republic is still working on providing education all over the country. And then we also go to a university, a private university. There's not a picture up there, but we go there and we perform, we take English lessons there and we practice English with the students there. So it's a lot of different students, kids that we're working with while we go there. But it's a really great organization. It's a nonprofit. We're affiliated with FIU, and we go every spring break, FIU spring break.
Yeah. We also fundraise for our trip. So we only ask for students to give a participant fee, which is a personal fundraiser, which is $250. So that's all we ask for students. But we mainly fundraise. Before we go, we prepare. We do lesson plans here. So we prepare actually a whole year to then go there during spring break. So I already, if you go there, we have a sign-in sheet if you wanna, or if you're just interested and you wanna know more about GCE. But yeah, we're gonna be receiving applications on August around that time. So any questions, you can just stop by and let us know.
Thank you so much. Okay. So like them, I also like to volunteer as well, and especially after I learned all the things that I learned in my master's program. So these are some of the pictures of the different organizations that I had contributed my time to. I had usually do it for Chapman Community Partnership for Homeless or Feed My Starving Children. And then this year I was part of the City Year Miami. We went to beautify a school during Martin Luther King Day, and they do it every year. This year also, I wanted to run my first half marathon. So this is a picture of my running shoes and also my medal. But I did it with the purpose of running for something. And the reason why I ran it was because of Education for All. That's the mission that I had in every step of the way. And the organization that I chose to kind of run for, it is Pencils of Promise. And there's actually a charity app that you can download. And every mile that you run or bike, they donate money to a charity. So if you're interested, it is called Charity Miles. And you just need to download it in your phone. And then every time that you work out, you just go ahead and think that you are sponsoring money, you're fundraising money for an organization. Okay. So these, as I said, these are other organizations that I had the opportunity to volunteer for. So his House Children Home, it is kind of like a foster home where a lot of kids and refugee children go to. They have like a home setting where they have like a parent as well, and they do different activities for them. So I did a toll drive for this organization a couple of years ago. I Love My City is something that I do with the church that I go to. Once a month, we also serve the community in different projects. And then this is Charity Miles, the one that I just mentioned for working out. And then we have also Operation Christmas Child. So I have a small short video to share.
The power of a simple gift can change a life forever. Operation Christmas Child has been distributing gifts to children in need since 1993. These children are just like any other child, full of energy and dreams, but the reality of their world is very different to ours. Many children live without such basic needs that we often take for granted. It's not uncommon for a child to have only one set of clothes, and many do not even own a pair of shoes. Operation Christmas Child is all about sharing God's unconditional love so that children know they are loved and not forgotten. Every year, more than 320,000 shoeboxes are packed with gifts and sent to children in Southeast Asia and the South Pacific. If you've never packed a shoebox, why not join us this year? It's easy and it's fun. Decide if it's for a boy or a girl and what age. Fill it with gifts to delight a child in need. A list of suggestions is on our website. Make your donation online of $9 per shoebox and you can follow your shoebox and see where it goes. Your gift will soon be in the hands of a special girl or boy who has most likely never before received a gift. The more shoeboxes we pack, the more kids we can reach. Join in the spirit of Operation Christmas Child, the largest children's project in the world, and let your gift-filled shoebox bring a message of God's unconditional love to a child who has nothing. First a box, sent a smile, then the hope of a brighter future for a whole community. Operation Christmas Child. Good news, great joy.
Anyone have heard of Operation Christmas Child before? Yay! Awesome. So now you know about Operation Christmas Child. This is an organization that I have been supporting for the past 6 years. We started in a shoebox collection party. That's how it all started for me. But ever since then, I have been like spreading the word and then sharing this with all my friends and co-workers as well. So these are some of the pictures of all the collections that we have done in the past 6 years. As you heard in the video, it is considered the largest children project in the world, and the way how it works is that every November, during the second week of November, they call it the National Collection Week. So the entire nation, the United States and also around the world, they start collecting shoe boxes filled with gifts so they can be sent to children abroad. And the reason why I do it is because I feel that if you cannot change millions of lives, I just start by changing one. So we had, these are pictures from the office. The entire office had been contributing to Operation Christmas Child for the past 2 years, and also my family as well, and then in my family business, and then we also had some friends as well. Resources at FIU. So I know that like me and then the people that share the information today, probably you also had good information that you want to share with the team. So we're going to spend the next couple of minutes just sharing. If you had volunteered your time with a different organization, just raise your hand so you can share it with the team. Anyone had volunteered? No one had volunteered? Yeah? Do you want to share it with us?
Well, actually, when I did a study abroad, there wasn't like an official volunteer aspect to it, but since we were going there and the professor is from the area, he knew what the local school children might need. So we ended up, you want to bring extra baggage so that you can bring souvenirs back. So our empty ones that we brought with us, we just filled with school supplies and menstrual supplies for girls there. Okay. And so when we got over there, we just took them to the schools and distributed them to the students.
Okay.
As a part of the study abroad.
That's awesome. Anyone else that had volunteered? Yes.
Well, I'm actually the Peace Corps recruiter on campus. I was in the Peace Corps. I did 2 years in Costa Rica. And whoever isn't familiar with the Peace Corps, it's a 2-year international program. And it's in over 60 different countries. It's a federal agency. And most people that heard of it, they think you go from country to country. But no, you're essentially living within a community, as a local, and basically working on projects in a grassroots approach. So if you want to know more about it, I'm actually in the new building, in the SAS building, room 305. I have an office hours here. Okay. We could speak about it. I could delve into it. I don't want to monopolize everybody's time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Okay. So the last couple of slides is about where my direction is heading. So I always felt that I wanted to do something also to contribute, to get globally engaged, but in a different setting. So to travel abroad and volunteer my time in a different country. So this year, finally, that's going to happen for me. It's going to be in November that I'm going to be traveling with a couple of friends as well. And we're going to be going to Bali for a week to volunteer with children. So the program is called the Kindergarten Program. We're going to be helping kindergarten kids in the morning. So we'll be helping the teachers. And then in the afternoon, we are going to be working with elementary kids on English skills, like learning the English language, because English opens the doors for them to higher education and also to different work settings as well. So this is the organization. It's called International Volunteers Headquarters. The reason why I'm sharing the organization is because I had signed up with them, and then I had seen all their reviews and all their things. They started back in the year 2007, and the way how they work with the local community in order to be able to have affordable volunteer programs for people that want to volunteer abroad. It is considered the world's leading volunteer travel organization. with the most affordable rates. It includes your lodging, meals, and some transportation as well. The program, as I said, that we're going to be doing is teaching, but they also had other 150 projects available, so for anyone's interest. The program that we're going to be doing is in Bali, Lovena, and then it is organized from the moment that you sign up for it. So you sign up for it, then you pay a registration fee, and then they send you a training that they want you to start working on. And then why volunteer? So as research has shown, volunteering can help others to reduce stress, combat depression, keep your mentality stimulated, and provides you with a sense of purpose. And some of the benefits of volunteering is that it connects you to others, and it is also good for your mind, and it can advance your career, and it brings fun and fulfillment into your life. So how many of you agree with these benefits? Yeah? Okay, awesome. And then in my case, I volunteer because it kind of fulfilled my purpose of contributing to a bigger cause, also support the well-being of children. It promotes education equality, and it also gets me out of my comfort zone. I had put a list of resources for you to take with you, because I know we cover a lot of organizations and a lot of great initiatives. So take a time to kind of go over them, and then if you want to know more about it, go into their websites and you will find more information in there. And with this last slide, I'm going to conclude our presentation for today. It was called A Path to Global Engagement. So kind of like all the different experiences that I had in my life, they connected me into being a global citizen, someone who thinks globally but needs to act locally on the local sense. So I would encourage you to kind of go in the same direction and then utilize some of the information that you learned today to contribute to a bigger cause. Thank you very much for your time.